right, Andy Burcham is on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He joins us now. What is up, Andy? How are you?
Gentlemen, good morning. Hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful day on the plains today.
Doing quite well. You know, I gave the stat. Let me pull it back up. I gave the stat earlier because I want to credit Scott Scroggins on Twitter at ScrogginsNoggin.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
He's outstanding.
Yeah, I mean, he gives you every stat in the world.
Yes, he does.
I was blown away by this one, though. From 1933 to 2017, Auburn had done just what Dunaway said that Auburn has now done since 2018. I mean, that's pretty remarkable to do the two regular season championships, a tournament championship, in that span of time when it took Auburn since 1933 to do it before Bruce Pearl got there.
Well, Auburn won an SEC championship in 1960 and did not win another SEC title, tournament or regular season, until the mid-'80s with the Charles Barkley team there in Birmingham that Sonny Smith was the coach for. Did it in 99 with Cliff Ellis as the coach, the Chris Porter team. And what Bruce Pearl has done since that 2018 team, he became the 10th SEC coach to win at least 3 regular season SEC titles. He did it at Tennessee in 2008. And he's the first Auburn coach ever to win more than one SEC regular season championship. So a lot of firsts since Bruce Pearl has come on the plains for the Tigers.
If Auburn was to blow that 19-point lead and go on and lose that game last night, one of the main reasons would have been Mississippi State and their ability to dominate on the glass. If you go back the last couple of games, Andy, Auburn's been out-rebounded 104-63. How much of a concern is that right now?
It is a concern, and just got back after taping Coach Pearl's TV show, and he brought it up. But there's no overlooking the fact that in the last 2 games, and both road games at Tennessee and at Mississippi State, Auburn has not only been out-rebounded, they've been out-rebounded overwhelmingly in those games. And at Tennessee, a good portion of that came on the offensive glass, and that's a concern for this Auburn team as you get ready now for the final regular season game Saturday at noon, and then it's on to the tournament, the SEC tournament down in Tampa, and then who knows where Auburn goes, what seed Auburn will be in an NCAA tournament. That's something that Auburn, I don't know if they can completely turn it around, but they've got it. It's certainly something that they will address and try to get much better at on the glass, because you're about to face teams game in and game out from now on that know that of late that's been a bit of a concern for the Tigers. And Tennessee, and then last night with Mississippi State, and somehow Auburn survived getting beat on the glass last night and came away with that win against State in Starkville in overtime.
Andy Burcham is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, and I feel like I should point this out that because we have so many passionate Auburn fans who watch us, that is not a live shot of Auburn Arena. You're not missing anything in the arena right now. But that place has been so special. 17 straight wins, unbeaten this year. You finish up at home this week. I know when they built the place, it was going to be an improvement. But did you guys ever dream it would turn into the atmosphere that it has turned in? I mean, we had Jay Billis on, we've had Reese Davis on, we've had Seth Greenberg on. They all say it is as good, if not better, than anywhere else in the country. Did you ever dream that would be the atmosphere?
Well, it's what it was designed for. Whether Auburn ever had teams that would generate the fan support was the big question. And during the Tony Barbie era, it was never a factor. And for the first 3 years that Bruce Pearl was here, it wasn't much of a factor. But Bruce Pearl at his press conference, when he was announced, he said, you better get your tickets now because they're going to be hard to come by one day. And that was prophetic by BP. And now it's easier to go on the road and get tickets for an Auburn basketball game than it is for home games, which is remarkable. And Auburn, guys, I don't know, Auburn took at least 3 or 4 busloads of fans to the game last night in Starkville. I mean, there were times in the game, it was hard to, if you were just listening to the game, it was hard to tell whether Auburn was at home or on the road last night. That's how many Auburn fans were there. It has turned into a remarkable home court advantage with the jungle, and we're on the side with the Auburn student section right behind us. And it's a remarkable atmosphere. Guys, for 31 years, I did Auburn women's basketball and covered some outstanding teams. And in those 31 years, I called one game at Auburn where it was a sellout. One. And that was back in 2009 at Beard East Coliseum against Tennessee. And I have to remind myself when I go into that arena now, and it will be Neville Arena by the time that Auburn plays there on Saturday, I can't take for granted what it's like to call a game in front of an atmosphere like we have now at Auburn. I don't ever want to take that for granted because it's been remarkable. You know, a year ago, it wasn't there. We didn't have fans hardly at games because of COVID. And this year they've come back and they've been treated to a remarkable season.
And not only that, Andy has gotten to meet some fans on the road too. Some students from other schools on the road.
We're
up close and personal.
Yes.
We're trying to get that rule changed, Andy. To always the opposite side of the student section. That's for the visiting radios.
Yes, the Andy Burcham rule. Call it. Yes. I want to touch on something you and Lance were talking about with the rebounding. Kessler is wearing that sleeve on his shoulder, and I don't know that Coach Pearl addressed it with you or has addressed it that I have seen. What percentage do you think Kessler is right now? He doesn't seem to be 100.
Yeah, I don't know the answer. I couldn't give you a number. Apparently, it happened when he took a spill in the Tennessee game last Saturday, and really didn't realize it coming out. And when Auburn was at shoot around yesterday, I didn't notice him wearing that neoprene sleeve on the shoulder. We were told it was done as a precaution. I think there's something to his left shoulder. How much it inhibits his play right now, I just don't know at this point. I think there is some discomfort there. Exactly what the problem is, I haven't been told yet. I'm going to try and track that down before Auburn plays on Saturday. But it's a concern because you're about to get into a situation where when Auburn goes to Tampa, you could be playing 3 games in 3 days. And in the NCAA tournament, you're playing 2 games in 3 days in the first 2 rounds and beyond. So that's something I'm sure that Auburn's athletic trainer, Clark Pearson, and the medical staff are certainly looking at this point for Walker.
Jabari Smith, another great game last night. And most people believe he's going to go number 1 overall. And who knows? I mean, look, you mentioned Charles Barkley, by far the greatest player in Auburn basketball history. Jabari could end up being that guy. We have no idea. But as you call his games and know this is that 1 year you get to call him, right, how hard is it not to take for granted being able to watch that guy night in, night out?
Well, and he's so clutch. He doesn't mind taking the big shots for Auburn. He scored 27 last night. And it's remarkable what he can do because he shoots the 3 very, very well. He can post you up on the low post. He can shoot the fadeaway. He can take it to the basket. He plays good defense. He's a good rebounder. He really is the overall package. And I don't know, he's a lottery pick for sure. I hope he's the number 1 pick. I watch him a lot before a ball game and just how he goes about his business. And I don't think there's any question that he and his father have a plan and how he goes about his work. But it is, as a true freshman, it's hard sometimes to forget that he was in high school last year. He doesn't play like a true freshman. And there have been times, down the stretch of this season where it's been Jabari and that's about it from an offensive scoring. I mean, he has been the most consistent scorer on this Auburn team. And a couple times I've reminded fans during the game, and I'm reminding myself of this as well, enjoy this guy while you've got him because he's a one-and-doner for sure at Auburn.
Back in the 90s, if Casey Dunn hadn't got hurt, I think Auburn wins a baseball World Series with that team that goes out to Omaha. Brandon Cox was underappreciated. I know the personalities aren't the same, but my goodness, KD Johnson, when he turns it on, you get lost with all the stars that are on this Auburn team, and then there's KD Johnson who can go out and score 10 in overtime to start the overtime last night. He seems to be just waiting to be that spark plug when you get to the dance.
Well, he did it at Missouri. He went on a 5-0 run in the last minute in that 1-point win at Missouri, an old-fashioned 3-point play and a driving basket. And then last night, and it was so, Sonny Smith was sitting to my right, and right before KD Johnson drove to the basket in overtime and gave Auburn the lead. And remember, KD had 2 points in the first half.
Yeah.
That was it. He didn't score in the second half. And Sonny said Auburn needs to get the ball to KD Johnson in overtime. And immediately, KD got the ball to the right wing and drove to the basket, gave Auburn the lead, came down the next time and hit the three-pointer that gave Auburn a 4-point lead, then got a 3-point basket, a conventional 3-point play. It was so prophetic of Sonny. And KD, he's just that guy. He has supreme confidence, perhaps sometimes too much confidence in his ability. But last night, boy, did it pay off. He scored 12 points, and 10 of those came in the overtime period.
Yeah, amazing. Sonny Smith and officials, when the officials run by your broadcast area, do they ever glance at Sonny and threaten to tee him up during the broadcast? He rides them.
No, but they love him, though, when before the game. They come over, and everybody comes over and gives him a handshake or a fist pump or whatever. And here's the one thing that Sonny doesn't do. He doesn't call officials out by name.
Yeah.
Right? He's on them a little bit. Rod, when Rod was with us, Sonny always laughs because Rod always had a hand on the mixer on Sonny's microphone. I haven't done that yet. Haven't had to do that yet. But, as Auburn fans say, Sonny is a national treasure. To be sure.
He really is. He doesn't call him out by name, but I forget which game it was. We were driving back from Alabama's national championship game. It may have been Auburn, Alabama,
in Tuscaloosa,
and we're listening, and he called out. I'm not, that one official who's standing by the circle, and then he called out the name of the other two guys, I think. He didn't call out the name, but he called out the other two guys.
Process of elimination.
He's a blast. Yeah.
It's always fun talking to you, Andy. Noon tip, Auburn, South Carolina, final game of the season at Auburn Arena Saturday. So go enjoy that game. Listen to Andy and Sonny, Brad Law, Calhoun County great. If you can't get down there, well, us Calhoun County guys got to stay together. Thank you, Andy. It's always a blast.
My pleasure, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care. Andy Burcham, voice of the Auburn Tigers on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.